I expect my wife to act like a wife. Stop that. I'm preaching.
Right.
I'm talking to my wife. She's sneezing while I'm preaching. Make her nervous.
I'm nervous all that.
She said she's allergic to all that. I used to get on the dog like that, and he'd start sneezing too. Not getting nervous, are you?
No.
Okay. Well, what do you expect out of your marriage? I know what I expect out of my marriage. And what do I expect out of my spouse? See, I expect my marriage to be an environment that's peaceful, an environment that's loving, an environment that's wholesome, an environment that I can just rest in and don't have to worry about, and I can present to the world. That's what I expect out of my marriage. What do I expect out of my spouse? I expect her to love me. I expect her to take care of me. I expect her to have my back. I've told people in counseling, there's one thing I never have to worry about with Rosie. And that is that she won't be there when I need protection behind me. I never have to turn around and wonder, is she there? Does she have my back? Is she on my side? Is she going with me? I never worry about that. If we're in a crisis, if I'm doing something and it's a pressured situation, I never turn around to see if she's with me, because I know she's on me like glue. She's right there. That's what I expect out of my spouse. And that's been proven over and over and over and over again. Now, here's the hard part. It's easy saying, what do you want out of life? What does your spouse expect out of life? What does your spouse want out of life? I know what I want. What does she want? You know what you want. What does Lisa want? You know what you want. What does Sarah want? And it goes the other way. You'll get there. You know what you want. What does your spouse expect out of life? What does your spouse expect out of marriage? What kind of marriage? You know what kind of marriage you want. What kind of marriage do they want? What is your wife or your husband expecting for your marriage? Well, I don't think I was married. Yeah, well, you're building something. If you shoot at nothing, you're bound to hit it. You know, it's written in stone. You're going to hit it. If you shoot at nothing, you will get that. You will get nothing. If you shoot at nothing, you will get a marriage that winds up being nothing. If you shoot at something, this is the marriage I want. This is where I want to be. This is what I want my marriage to become. Then you have to say, how do I get there? What do I have to do to get from where I am to where I'm going to be? To seek something, you have to know what it is you're looking for. Seek peace and pursue it. I want peace in my relationships. Well, what is peace? I want contentment. I want love. I want completeness. I want wholeness. I want tranquility in my relationships. So I know what I want. Now I have to say, what does she want? What does Rosie want out of life? What does Rosie want out of my marriage? Then the hardest part. What does Rosie want out of me? What does your spouse want out of you? What does she require of you? We don't like looking at that. We want everything, and we want to have nothing required of us. We have these conversations constantly. So we don't ever personally have to sit down and say, this is what I want, this is what you want, because we've talked for years. And I actually did something this morning that I've never done before. When I was working on this, I went to her and I said, I'm going to ask a question today, and I don't know, I need to know the answer. I need to know what's coming at me. And the question was, in a relationship, do you feel equal? Do you feel like an equal partner? because I know what I think. But I had to make sure before I got into this situation, and I asked her, it wasn't that I was worried. I just need to clear this. You never ask a question you don't know the answer to. That's what they tell lawyers. So I went downstairs. She was reading her Bible, and I was upstairs in my office, and I came down and I said, I need to ask you something. Do you feel like an equal partner in this relationship?
Absolutely.
I said, are you sure?
And I said, I feel so equal, I feel like I've been put on a pedestal. I have to be careful what I say.
Yep. See, what does your spouse require out of you? They require equality. Is he or she equal to you in decisions, in importance? How do you know if your spouse is equal to you in importance? If what they want is just as important as what you want. If what they want in their life is just as important to you as what you want in your life. I want this, but they want this. Is that as important to me? You'll kill yourself trying to get yourself something. Trying to get to a certain place or acquire something, or I always say acquire something because getting things, humans like to get things. We like money. We like stuff. We like houses, cars, land, trinkets, and I'm looking at the Netgear thing, electronics, and phones, and iPods, and stuff. The more buttons, Rosie always says, he'll like it, it's got buttons. Yep. It's true. If it has buttons, I am all over it. Let's punch them and see what happens.
Give them a remote.
I'm done. It's like, buttons. My hands start smoking. Wow! Punch the buttons. But I'm a man. And we men will kill ourselves trying to get stuff. But will I kill myself trying to get her what she wants? What's important to her? First off, I have to know what's important to her. And then I have to look and ask myself, is it on the same level? Am I going to work as hard to make her happy as I am going to work to make me happy?
And that's what I meant by being put on a pedestal, because you have to be careful, because I know you'll kill yourself. Yeah, I will. I will kill myself trying to make her happy. So you have to ask yourself, as a husband or as a wife, what does my spouse expect? I'm going three places in my head here, so I have to sort them out. What does my spouse expect out of their life? What does my spouse expect out of this marriage? And what do they expect out of me? And in doing that, am I treating her or him the way I like to be treated? See, I have a standing rule. I do not raise my voice to my wife. Never. Do I ever? Never. Never. Never, 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 never. You will never hear it. The only time you'll ever hear me raise my voice to my wife is if I'm across the house and I have to raise my voice so she can hear me. You will never hear me speak to her in anger. You will never hear me speak to her harshly. You will never hear me speak to her in a downward way, speaking down to her. That will never, never, never happen. Why? Because I know what my spouse wants, what she expects out of me. I know how she treats me, and I know how I treat her. That will not change, only to get better. And there's a reason that I do that, and that she does that. You will never hear her raise her voice to me. For one reason. Because I don't like it. And she knows I don't like it. I was raised in a screaming household. Do not raise your voice to me. Do not scream at me. If you do, you want to see a conversation. If we're having a conversation, you raise your voice and scream at me and watch how fast conversation over. It is done right there. All over. I'm going home. We're done. Why? I don't like it.
I have expectations in relationships. And my wife's expectation of me is just as important to me as my expectation of me. What does she want? What is it going to take for me to make her happy? When we were going through our financial crisis, at the very, very hardest, she got $20 a week to yard sale. I couldn't afford it. She knew we couldn't afford it. She knew we didn't have the money. But it made her happy. And I said, God, we can afford this, or we need to do something else. $20 a week she got. Come Friday, I went to the bank, or she went to the bank and got $20 out, and that was her $20 bill, and she went yard sailing, and she supplied our house on $20 a week. Didn't you?
Yep, decorated it for sure.
Why did I do that? Because she wanted to be able to make a house. And that was important to her. She wanted to be able to get stuff and bring it into the house and what would you call it?
Fluff my nest.
Okay, fluff her nest. She wanted to be able to do that. And it was funny. She'd find paint to paint it at the yard sales. She'd find a $1 table and 25 cents worth of paint to paint the thing. It was the craziest thing. She always came back with stuff. And I always said, if she pulled into the driveway, not so bad. If she backed into the driveway, wow, I'm in for it. Because we're going to be, I've lost her in the garage for the week. But you see, that's what made her happy. And that became all important to me, making my wife happy. It wasn't anything bad she was doing. I didn't talk down to her. I didn't look down on her. I was excited for her. Look, she's saving me money. First off, she wasn't going to Target or Pier 1 to buy a $100 table. She was buying a $100 table for $1. For $1 at a yard sale that somebody didn't like anymore. But the moral of this story is we couldn't afford it. But it was more important for me, for her to be happy, than it was for me to be happy. Not spending the $80 a month took $80 worth of pressure off of me. But what did it do? In return, it put $80 worth of pressure on her. She took the pressure then at that point instead of me taking the pressure. It was more important for me that she be happy than I be happy. I'd get over it. It wasn't that bad because the tightness, the money being tight, was more me. It was my perception, not necessarily reality. So what does she want? I have down here, I'm at peace in our relationship. But is your spouse at peace in your relationship? You have to ask those questions. If you never ask, you'll never know. If you only assume it, what happens? You can have problems and never know it. Your world can be falling apart around you and you never see it coming. What happened? I thought you were happy. You never asked. You never asked. That's why I asked her this morning, do you feel like an equal? Is your wife or husband an equal to you in your relationship? Or do you call the shots and you can get on board if you want? Here we go. I'm leaving. Come if you want. That's not equal. That's not equal footing. That's not equal settings. I want to know, is my wife happy? If she's not, what do I have to do to change it? I want to know if she's at peace in our relationship. If she's not, what do I have to do to change it? Because it's my responsibility. If she's not happy with me. And I'm talking in the relationship. I'm not talking in life. Now, I'm narrowing this down on purpose to the relationship. What do you have to do as a husband or as a wife to make your wife or husband happy in the relationship? And if that person says, oh, you buy me a new car, that'll make me happy. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about emotionally. I'm talking about as far as peace. I'm talking about, do you feel satisfied in the relationship?